Are you tired of getting meatballed in your squid missions and want to completely decimate everything the Illuminate scum can throw at you? Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because today we're saving Super Earth with 3 of my best loadouts for solo games, elite hunting, and one of the most fun builds that got insane buffs this update that is almost impossible to put down once you start playing it. All of my builds are also updated in my Discord first every single time there's an update, and I test them all live on stream, so make sure you join to keep up to date with what I'm doing. For now, though, we're lighting this off with how to survive the new biggest threats, and all of our builds are going to revolve around 3 armors to do that. First up is Siege Ready. This activates all of our weapons with extra ammo and primaries with extra reload speed. This does help remove problematic reload hangs and makes any primary you take in feel way better to use, and I personally like using the heavy armor variant for the extra damage reduction, but the problem is that most of the Illuminate enemies' sole job is to push you out of your position. So having more movement speed to deal with that with the light version lets you keep your advantage, and I think that that's probably best for most people, but you can go both ways here. If you do equip the heavy armor, just try to think about in advance where you need to be, and that solves most of that problem, but it can be hard to get used to. Now, when it comes down to actual just raw survivability, I think having the movement speed while being able to tank some hits is really important. And when we break down what armor actually does, you need to have above 100 armor for the headshot damage reduction to do anything meaningful. So if you want to be a beefcake, there's 2 medium armors that give you the mobility and tankiness to deal with every single situation that the Illuminate can throw at you. The B24 Enforcer armor is something we talk about a lot, and it is a superstore pickup, but now that its page is always available, it's way easier to pick up. And that's a good thing because this has been the flat out best armor in the game for a very long time. The 129 armor value combined with the explosive damage reduction lets you tank out the mortar guys, the jet fighter strafe, and it protects your beautiful little head. It also has recoil reduction, which lets you just crouch or lay down and mindlessly shoot your machine gun dead straight like a beam without even having to try. But if you don't want to buy B24, everybody starts with medium padded, and that lets you eat a lot of extra damage that otherwise would have killed you. And the main reason that I want to talk about using medium over light is this devious dissident is a lot more aggressive now and spams a ton of shots off that could just one pump you if they hit you in the head. And we want to be the one that pumps with my best all-around loadout for the Illuminate. You've got to be squidding me. All the guns here benefit from Siege Ready, giving the Scorcher and HMG extra magazines, but I prefer to run this with B24 so you can mindlessly beam down the harvesters with the heavy machine gun. This is the best harvester removal in the game right now, and all you have to do is blast the leg joint to make them disappear faster than the cope about the new war bond. The only other targets for the HMG are going to be the jet or the Fleshmob when we just feel like blasting something full of lead. And honestly, the HMG is insanely fun to shoot with the changes to its recoil when you full ADS, that just blasting everything you can with it is the vibe. We're also going to need to take in the supply backpack with this because all of our weapons are going to be feasting on ammo, and having the extra resources you need on demand while you're learning a new faction is super important, and we're going to need as much ammo as we can get because we're locking the Scorcher into our primary slot. This is my favorite weapon for turning the squids into a point-and-click adventure. It gives you tons of control over the high-pressure enemies, and this is the best weapon for mowing down Fleshmobs and Overseers. With the Flying Overseer being the major priority #1 to kill enemy, having an on-demand instant removal for them makes the game way easier. You can also just blast straight through Stick Guy's shield, you can drop the jets with them, and you can one-pump a magazine into Fleshmobs to take them down. This gets even better when you combine it with gas and you start letting everything rot a little bit. Your kill pressure just starts skyrocketing because the Scorcher also has some splash damage to it, and it lets you take entire call-ins down with just 2 grenades and a couple of magazines. I also highly recommend that you use the gas grenade because this is a horde faction, and locking them down with the gas confusion effect lets you take down the biggest threats before they ever become a problem, and it gives you a ton of breathing room to make better decisions and a ton of mistakes. And I know everybody's a god gamer that never moves 1 pixel wrong except me. I make a lot of mistakes, and I need the extra time to think. So I need the gas. And moving on to our sidearms, we're going to talk about something that just genuinely shocked me with the buffed Crisper. This is my new go-to because the area denial this thing puts down is hilariously good, letting you wipe out like any patrol of Outlist with just 1 can. But where it really shines for me is kiting meatballs. They die to direct damage from just 1 canister, and walking around them with it is super easy, letting you either like prime them with a fire dot and blast them out with something else, or just flat out kill them with it. Plus it has a ton of ammo to work with, so after you lock this in, it's almost impossible for me to put it down personally. Like, I love using the Crisper now, and I think this is just an all-around amazing sidearm for the squids. Finally, our last 2 stratagems are Eagle Napalm and Gas Strike. This is just so we have a ton of area denial, and Gas Strike has such a low cooldown that just being able to put it down anytime you see one too many dudes is peace of mind, and it's great for shutting down chokes or drops. The confusion combined with the rot damage softens everything up or flat out kills it because of the duration, and when we combine this with Napalm Strike, the double dot ends up just melting pretty much everything off the screen sub a Harvester and lets you focus those priority targets down. This is a loadout with so many pillars on the squids that your foundation will be almost impossible to tear down, and it should let you easily deal with every single situation that they can throw at you. But that's for when we want to meta game and hard carry or solo games because we just want to win. And sometimes we just want to be a good teammate and go elite hunting, and that's where my Wasp loadout came in. You can swap the Wasp for the autocannon, but I'm going to focus on talking about the Wasp because we never really use this thing on the other factions without it feeling weird. But on the Illuminate, it lets you delete some of the most dangerous enemies, and all of the Overseers just die in one rocket. So that's 7 kills per canister. Just make sure that they're more than 25 meters away so the rockets don't swing around them. Sometimes they will swing around into your teammates too if you're not careful, is what it is. But this makes removing Overseers a cakewalk, and the true value comes in when you see the jets start flying over. I know they're kind of rare, but the lock-on is so easy that it just lets you slam 3 rockets off and instantly kill them. It completely trivializes this enemy, and the more that I've played, the jet has been the thing that's kill farming the most Helldivers, so having the flat-out best removal for them goes a long way. I also recommend not using the artillery mode at all. It's just not very good, and if you are going to shoot at Harvesters, it's pretty RNG or whether or not you're going to kill them in 1 or 2 pumps. Sometimes it's 3, and that's where the rest of our stratagems are going to come in. If you don't feel like you need bonus Harvester removal, you can use Gas Strike for Horde Clear, but Gatling Barrage is always a solid all-around pick because of the low cooldown and the high damage output that will either soften Harvesters up enough or flat out kill them if you get a decent spread. I also prefer to use sentries in this loadout in my other 2 slots. I think that machine gun is probably better than Gatling, but rule of cool wise, nothing beats seeing the Gat mow down a horde of zombies, and it's surprisingly good at killing the jets. The autocannon sentry will also obliterate Harvesters. The only problem that you run into with it is that the Harvester can outrange it and it will focus it down. So if you do see that happening, try and stagger it with a Wasp shot. Now, you can also stagger the Harvesters with the Purifier, and it's great for ripping their shields off. This is also going to be what rounds are built out because we needed something with really good ammo economy that was also great at Horde and Elite clear, so this fit the bill perfectly. It's only 2 charge shots per Overseer that get too close for your Wasp, and spamming charge shots is the best way to deal with most things that the Illuminate have, but don't worry about rapid firing it to finish stuff off. It's not that big of a deal. Now, we also did lock in the Crisper for this build because of the meatball killing potential, but I also found that the Talon was really good here because of the infinite ammo. Now, the final loadout that I have for you that will completely cook you up after you play it, like you're probably not going to stop because it's so much fun, is Oops All Lasers. This has been a staple for a while, but the site saw massive buffs with the fire changes and the weapon attachment system. Once you get this thing to level 13 and unlock the Extendo heatsink, it lets you shoot for such a long time that you won't even care if you blow the heatsink because you can just reload it super fast. What I was doing was swapping between this and the last pistol or the laser cannon to just keep blasting the whole game. And that was my favorite part about this loadout, was the ability to just have 100% uptime on shooting whenever I wanted. I just kept blasting. So to make the most out of the scythe, you want to shoot the boltless in the head. You can easily clear hordes of them out with it. And if a meatball is coming at you, just try and beam the different heads off. That combined with the fire damage rots them out super fast. Also, if they get too close, just kite them out with the last pistol. It's an amazing tool that looks hilarious to shoot. Now, when it comes to killing Overseers, you want to pop them in the leg with either the last pistol or the scythe. It melts them down super fast. And this combined with the laser guard dog gives you just a ton of DPS in any direction that you need, letting you burn everything down. And when it comes to killing Harvesters, we want to rip their shields off with the scythe, then swap to our laser cannon because it melts the leg joints off super fast and is going to be our main removal tool for them. The laser cannon is also extremely good at killing everything else they have and burns out the jets super fast. I also recommend that you blast Overseers in the head with your laser cannon over the other last weapons because it only takes 1 tick to pop their heads off. We also want to take in gas with this loadout just for the horde control, and the same idea of buying time to kill priority targets with the laser cannon. Strat-wise, Eagle Napalm and Gas or Gatling Barrage combo gives you the low cooldown spam removal that you need, but thematically, the Orbital Rail Cannon Strike has a cool laser, and of course, the Orbital Laser is the most thematic for laser maxing, but the 3-use limit is the only reason I don't like it, so hopefully they remove that for peak laser maxing. And one massive problem to talk about this loadout is that once you start playing it and then swap to something else, you're going to be so annoyed at having to stop reloading your guns after just W key blasting for an entire game. that you'll just probably switch back. So you've been warned about laser maxing because it is peak, and I genuinely hope that these builds help you guys out against new enemies so that we can defend Super Earth. And if you have any cool builds you want me to try, just post them up in the comments or the Builds and Drip channel in my Discord, and I'll try and get you in for a 4-stack of your favorite thing when I'm streaming, when I'm running viewer built games. Usually I do that on Monday nights, but anyways, guys, hope you have a great night, and I'll see you all in the next one.